to Week in Horror.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
The only podcast that will feed your horror need.
The need to feed.
With JL.
Yeah, I'm a fucking masochist. I'll watch that shit.
Eugene.
Somebody has to be the sex symbol. I'm sorry.
Alex.
Shit, I just demonetized this forever.
And Johnny O.
How do you like that shit? Got halfway through the monologue before unmuting myself. Golly, it's one of them fucking days.
With industry guests.
Hi, this is Richard Oakes, Director of Host.
Hey, this is Adam Leader, Director of Host.
This is Matthew Mark Hunter.
I'm Don and Ellie.
And you're listening to Week in Horror.
And you're listening to Week in Horror.
And this is Week in Horror.
And you're listening to Week in Horror.
Welcome to prime time, bitch!
News, trivia, and more.
One by one, we will take you.
Join our live show Wednesdays at 7 Central, youtube.com/weekinhorror, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Week in Horror. Stay scared.
Well, there we are. Welcome back, horror fans. It's Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central. Almost. And that means it's time for another episode of the Week in Horror podcast, the only podcast just trying to survive Christmas.
It's so true.
And if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast,
just trying to make it to Christmas at this point.
There it is.
There he is. There he is.
There you go. You can finish it out. You can look at the hair. Fabio has joined us. My goodness, so sparkly.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Uh-oh. We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Oh no, you can't hear me.
Yes, we can hear
you.
You? You're lagging up something. You're lagging up something fierce, Holmes.
Yeah. That's weird. Sort your shit.
The face. You're lagging up something horribly.
Yep.
Oh fuck! You took the blue pill.
He took.
Is he on?
You doing okay? Okay, yeah, he's frozen. He froze that. It's you gotta fix it, dude.
You're in and out, like me on prom night.
Oh, we have a show to carry on with. So, Johnny, you want to?
Yep. Let's see. Oh, if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast host, you can join us here for our live show on the YouTubes, so you too can laugh and scream with us, flex your horror knowledge, and maybe even win some trivia prizes. This week, we're covering select films released in horror history, December 12th through December 18th. Thank you all so much for joining us. I am not Alex. I am Johnny O, and with me tonight are JL and Johnny O, also known as Alex.
Hello, everybody. Yes, we do apologize. Alex is having some technical difficulties, and that's what we were waiting for. I guess, I don't know if there's an issue with his internet over there or something is going on, but 10 minutes is too long to wait, in my opinion. So we needed to kick it off, and hopefully he'll be able to get it sorted out and jump in here, because luckily we have some cushion time. We played the trailer, we played the intro trailer at the beginning of the show. We got the intro to do, and then we talk about some things, and then we do the deal. So hopefully he'll get it sorted out, and he'll be able to jump in here and talk about the one movie I gave him this week.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I have two. Okay.
But to be fair, one of them is easy, and the other one is...
This is true.
Not as hard.
Not as difficult. All right. So, welcome everybody. Good to see everyone in the chat. I see that. Wow, lots of people in here. So let's say hi to who is in the live stream.
Hi.
All of our amazing supporters and listeners. Let me see all of y'all. This is incredible. Let me see here. Starting up at the top, I see Charlie Welch is in the house. The only man on the internet you never make a bet with.
I'll make a bet with Charlie Welch. We'll make a bet with him.
Shit.
Right now. We're doing it. Charlie, okay. What's the bet? Charlie?
Well, Charlie Welch says his phone is about done, but just letting you know he will be listening even if he can't participate.
Right.
Well, good to see you, Charlie Welch. Do appreciate you being here. Sir Little Wolf is in the house. Good to see you. Travis Brown as well. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, yeah, let's kick this off because we got to remind people exactly. We got to remind people of our amazing supporters.
The banner. Yeah.
And I'm kicking off the banner. Boom. Yes, those are our amazing patrons right there. So thank you to all of y'all for all of y'all who are in the chat. I will get around to you. So Cesar Little Wolf and Travis Wolf. Good to see you. Solarium Celestia. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here, as well as they were having a long conversation. Chris Durham Music Channel is in the house. Good to see you, Chris Durham.
There he is.
Always a pleasure. Thor Rasmussen's in the house. Good to see you. As well as, and I saw her say hello. Yes, I know, Sir Little Wolf, I was late, or we were late, because we are a team here. Jinju is in the house. Good to see you, Jinju. Really appreciate you being here. And I saw Glober Mom as well. Aaron Reese, one of our amazing patrons. Good to see you, Aaron Reese. Thank you so much for being here. It wasn't me that couldn't tech Stellarium. It was my co-host that couldn't tech. So Ivy Gentry's in the house. Good to see Ivy Gentry. And
Charlie Welch, you're asking me to bet against myself. That's just not right.
And Robert Caslow says, was up my scary kittens and heretical globetards. Good to see you, Robert Caslow. It's always a pleasure. Gosh of Heckfire's in the house. Good to see you, Gosh of Heckfire. And Glober Mom, there she is. I saw her popping in. Good to see you. Sarcasm, another one of our amazing patrons. Thank you so much, Sarcasm. Good to see you. And I think, and Beaver C. Yeah, Beaver C's in the house. And wrote it no last name. Gabba to you, wrote no last name. Good to see you. Says, if you have clear skies, Jupiter, the moon, Saturn, and Venus are in a beautiful line tonight. Very cool.
Yes, they are.
That is awesome. Good to know. Good to know. And okay, we got everybody. Fantastic. That's everybody that I see in the live chat. So, Sir Little Wolf, JL is late. Will we hear the pitter patter of little bearded feet? Possibly. I see Alex has popped back in. Let's see if he has.
He says, let me in.
He says, let me in.
Hello.
There he is.
Hello, and welcome to Movie Phone. Primo nueve.
Did you have to unplug it and replug it back in?
Bro, there's something going on inside my computer. It was not happy. I just shot everything in the face, restarted it, and then here we are.
And take holy water, a priest.
Seriously,
call everybody.
Ghost in the machine, bro. I'm telling you.
The power of Christ, the power of Gates compels you.
There you go.
The powers of Windows 11 compels you.
Oh man, have you guys got the free update yet?
Not yet.
If I do, I don't know because my computer auto updates, so I honestly don't know. I haven't noticed any big changes.
It would make you. Would make you. You would know.
Oh, then I haven't gotten it yet. So. All right, so a couple of things. Well, good to see everybody. Thank you all so much. Thank you to all of our amazing patrons who are in the house, who make this show possible. We do appreciate y'all being here. We have a couple of things we want to talk about before we get into the nitty-gritty tonight.
Okay.
First and foremost is, actually, I want to get this. I want to knock this out. I want to get this out of the way as soon as I can find it. Oh, dear, no. I've done it now. Crap.
You done fucked it up now.
You know what I fucked up? You know what
I'm not the only one that's not prepared to
No, you know what? I thought it was here. Apparently.
You lost the trivia prize.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't lose the trivia prize. Those are always ready to go. I can't find the official coin.
The coin toss.
The coin. We're going to do the bloodbath debate coin toss tonight, and I can't locate the official coin. But you know what?
Still in Angela's office from when we did it before.
Oh yeah.
You know what? It might be, but that's okay because I have a second one.
Of course you do.
It's called being prepared, bitch.
That was the weakest.
Weakest reveal.
You owe us 10 demerits.
Shut the fuck up.
That'll be 12 demerits.
All right. So I do have a second coin. I did order 2.
Oh God, the second coin.
Shut up. Friggin' Bugs Bunny, you shut up. So anyway, we're gonna do the bloodbath coin toss. So this merits talking about. I gotta give it. I gotta give this up. Okay, so if anybody in the live chat did not listen If you did not have early access to it, it's our patrons do.
Yeah.
Some of our patrons do. But I have to talk about this, and I know I'll be spoiling it for those because this doesn't come out. This doesn't hit the actual platforms for a month. Okay.
Really? I thought it was out already.
Well, no. It hits. The new ones hit Patreon first. For our Patreon supporters, and then it goes everywhere else a month later. So they all get early access to this. But this is one of the things that makes this show cool is the continuity behind everything. What's up, Mr. Andrad? Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. And Skooma Cat, good to see you. All right, so the last bloodbath debate, and I have to give it up to Alex here, who fucking brought the fucking noise. Holy shit.
I have to say, I thought you were going to lose the second you chose tomatoes against clowns. I'm like, why the fuck would you do that?
Right.
You have the choice and you're picking the obvious loser. And then
so this is how it went down, though. So Johnny,
well, hang on. I'm sitting there.
Johnny shoots me a messenger that just says tomatoes or clowns, and I had no idea what the fuck you were talking about.
So the last bloodbath debate was killer tomatoes, versus killer clowns from outer space. So they're both zany, it's kooky, it's clowns, it's tomatoes, and they're both killers.
I'm out from the game. This is an important one. Time out.
Go ahead. Yeah, keep going.
Everybody, mods that Sheila Carter VOA.FYI, block that shit. Get it out of here. Do not interact with that. That's just a way for them to. It's like a hacking thing.
Oh, is that one of those hacking links?
Yeah, apparently.
You mother. Yeah, get rid of them, mods. Take care of them.
Yeah.
Take care of them.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt because this is really good stories. So, yeah.
All right. So, so Sir Little Wolf says, killer clowns for the win. And I'm pretty sure everybody was saying, was pretty much thinking killer clowns. I am telling you right now, Alex brought the fucking noise. He brought one of the best arguments that he's ever brought. He upped his game. He did his research.
Gotten splattered all over the fucking wall, dude.
And he delivered the first ever draw in Week in Horror history in three seasons of doing the bloodbath debates. We've never had a draw.
But in fairness, the reason why we had a draw is because we had four judges. We didn't have that fifth.
That's true. Our judges were split completely down the line.
You didn't have to pull that rug out from under me, man.
Well, no. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not taking anything away from the argument. It really was a good argument. I was the swing vote, and I was just like, fucking hell, it's hard. It's going to be difficult for Alex to beat clowns. They're sentient beings that have fucking fingers and thumbs and shit. They have magical puppets, magical fucking shadow puppets.
Thumbs is a big point there.
Yeah, and then you brought your argument. I'm like, fuck. I have to put tomatoes in this one. Then
Mr. Andrad says JL duffed it more like no. It couldn't. It has to be that JL fucked up. Not that Alex really brought it to this. I was impressed. I mean, I was like, typically I'm like, oh, it's Alex. I'm just gonna beat him, man. It's gonna be easy. No, it wasn't.
Wow,
he really
man,
on my rebuttal,
right in my fucking place right there, huh?
No, well, I mean, it's typical. That's why it was exciting, is because but you really brought it this time.
Yeah,
we had to go back to you kept me on my toes.
Questions. That was the thing. The judges had to we had to go in and, hey, we need more time. We got to ask more questions. And even after the questions were answered, we got back and started deliberating. Yeah, and they were like, "There's just we can't, I think it was myself and Eugene were tomatoes, and Darklight and Angela were clowns, and it was tough. Eugene was hard clowns. I was kind of like, fucking hell, I don't know. And then looking at this point, that kind of takes over the thing. So I gotta go clown. I gotta go fucking tomatoes on this. And then it was just it was tough. It was a good one. I thought it was really good.
It was solid.
But that brings some intense first time Week in Horror news. This month, we get to do it again.
We get to do it again. Yeah. So it is a rematch for the belt. The first rematch we've ever had in Week in Horror history. Yeah. Alex came in like, I thought it was going to be like, Stone Cold versus Doink. I thought it was going to be like Stone Cold versus Doink. And he came in like the fucking Rock and hit me with a chair when I didn't expect it. And I'm like, what the fuck? So yeah, he put me on my game, and I've got to bring the noise next month. So it is this month essentially. So this coin toss is for this month. So seeing as I still hold the belt, I'll be calling it. And the winner of this toss, if I win, I will choose my opponent or who I'm going to take my icon, and Alex will get the other guy. This month will be Krampus versus Jack Frost for the month of December.
See, I don't think these are fair.
They are fair.
No, because Krampus is a fucking eternal mythical being, whereas Jack Frost is just some lazy ass.
Jack Frost is a mutated snowball that has like little muncher snowballs that he throws at people.
Yeah, I know.
And he's effectively unlimited.
Yes, but he's never been he's like been beaten every single movie.
But he doesn't melt. No, he always comes back. That's why he got a sequel.
He got a sequel because it was a cash grab.
Anyhow, so this is it. This is for Ivy Gentry says, but tomatoes have their own song. Killer tomatoes. So this coin toss, if I win, I will choose my icon, and Alex, we'll get the other one. We'll get the leftover, the sloppy seconds.
The leftovers.
If I lose, I'm probably going to lose the whole way. So let's just find out. Well, actually, you know what? Maybe not.
I don't know.
Because tomatoes came and beat clowns. or at least one.
It's the points that you bring. It's the way that you present it.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily have to be.
Okay. So here we go. I'm flipping a coin, and I choose
you, Pikachu.
Tails. No, if I choose tails this time, it's gonna go fucking heads. I'm sticking with heads.
And it's tails.
Hang on. Which one did we decide? Which one was which?
That's tails.
That's tails.
This is tails, or was
heads,
Texas heads, or the words tails?
Oh shit! See, now he's gonna reflip because he lost. Because that's
no. I can't remember.
Fuck.
Was the icon heads?
I don't.
And this was tails.
Ask her.
I don't. Yeah, ask Angela. Angela.
What does the chat remember? Okay, so I flipped it, and it's Texas. I could have sworn Texas was heads.
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure Texas is fucking heads.
I thought Texas was tails and the words were heads.
And the words were heads?
I don't remember, JL.
Are you sure?
No, I just said I don't remember.
God damn it.
Right, pick it. Listen, pick it again.
Oh, wait, sarcasm. Texas was heads.
Okay, cool. Deal.
Thank you, sarcasm. Look at that. And yes, Rodanella's name. Texas give good head. All right. So Texas is heads. I win that one.
You got it.
I'm taking Krampus.
Of course you are.
You brought it with the tomatoes. You bring it with Jack Frost.
Hey,
and you only have 2 movies you got to watch.
Jack Frost?
That's not necessarily a good thing when it's compared to a mythical, more immortal being.
Yeah, that beat fucking
God himself.
Whammy!
I thought that like spacefaring clowns would own tomatoes. Apparently, I was wrong.
You were wrong.
We'll see how it goes on next month's Bloodbath.
Yes. So we're doing that probably either this weekend or next weekend. We'll be doing the Bloodbath, so it'll be a lot of fun to find out who will take the cake in the next Bloodbath debate. And remember, if you are a slasher tier, or a possessed tier and up. So possessed tier or mastermind tier. If you are possessed tier or mastermind tier for our patron, you have a standing invitation to come and be a guest judge for our Bloodbath debates. You guys get to come in and judge whether me or Alex give the best argument as to who will win in the Bloodbath debate. So that's a standing invitation to those 2 tiers. So come on in and do it. And Sir Little Wolf, actually, we did Chud versus cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers versus humanoids from the deep.
That was me.
Because they're pretty much all mutated. They were pretty much all mutated homeless people is what they were. So
Johnny, every time I look at you, you got more shit attached to your face.
But yes, our slasher and no, not our slasher tier. Sorry, our mastermind and our possessed tiers.
It'll
I
tell
got
you
all
if you
fucked
look
up.
at the
Fanatic,
picture.
slasher, possessed, mastermind. Possessed and
If you have
mastermind tiers.
questions, just log into patreon.com/weekinhorror.
Mr. Malord, good to see you. Thank you so much. And he said, yes, he's right. Humanoids get more ass. They do get more. Well, humanoids take more ass. Is what they take.
Yeah.
Robert Caslow, Chud is cannibalistic humanoid underground dweller.
You're thinking chode.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
All right. So that is the coin toss out of the way. The second thing I wanted to talk about was does anybody have any specific holiday plans that they're looking forward to, or anybody traveling or doing anything?
No, I work retail. I don't get to travel.
That's true.
You're in prison. No, I get a whole bunch of days off, and
hey,
it's the opposite of Thanksgiving. There's going to be nobody around, so it'll be me, my wife, and the baby, and there are plans for everybody else. Everybody's going to be out of town, so it's going to be quiet as hell. I'm going to enjoy this.
Oh. Yeah, with the weather, we're actually anticipating pretty inclement weather.
Yeah,
so,
you're supposed to start getting some snow.
Yeah, you guys
right, and traveling is such a and I drive. I like to drive because I like to see the country. I like to drive through states, pick up souvenirs and stuff.
What the fuck do you see in Oklahoma?
I mean, I'll drive through Oklahoma. I'll probably drive through if I was going anywhere, I'd go west. I'd go east. I'd go to South Carolina. There's a lot of states in between here and there, and I could pick up cool stuff along the way. And I like picking up state magnets for the fridge, and I with the weather and the dogs, jingle situation, I figure travel's not going to be it. So we may do something with her mom and dad, but other than that, it'll probably just be a quiet Christmas this year. Well, we may actually, you know what? It may be on the table. We may go back down to Dallas to hang out with some friends because we bought some gifts for some of our friends. So
there you go. Do like a little weekend round.
Yeah. We'll see if travels because it is on a weekend this year. So
hey, let me ask you a question. Did you ever hear about that? I mean, this is completely not really, but did you ever hear about that film festival thing, the last 48 awards and all that?
We have heard nothing about this. We have not heard any nominations for any awards. We have heard nothing out of the organizers. We have no idea how our short film did. None.
Perfect.
So I apologize to all of our patrons because it's y'all's support that helps us do like the short films that we make.
Yeah.
And enables us to for me to write and me to be a part of that process. And we submitted a short film, and I was there at the screening, and ours kicked ass. I mean, I'm biased because I'm the one who fucking wrote it. But
absolutely,
Eugene's direction, the cast and crew were phenomenal. Everything was amazing. It was cheesy. It was like a romance. It was like a romance comedy, but ours was amazing. It was clear. There was a narrative. It was obviously a 3-act structure. We got the basics of it down. Not to mention Eugene's technical mastery, his ability to direct. Everything was on point. Ours was the best. We have heard nothing. We have no idea. So the minute we know something, I will definitely let everybody know. But that's pretty much the situation there.
Sweet.
All right. So, and wrote it no last name. I have not heard back from Tyne, that guy. I did email them, but I have not heard back from them. So maybe it might be busy because it's the holiday season, but I'll wait and see. If I don't have anything, back by January, then I'll probably message him again. But yeah, nothing yet. So the last thing I wanted to talk about, I gave you guys, before we dive into the movies tonight, I gave you guys something to look at. I updated.
I asked if I was supposed to be looking at this Princess Goes to the Butterfly Museum.
Yes.
What am I looking at here? What am I looking at?
Okay, let me ask this first.
No.
Okay, let me ask the live chat too. How many people in the live chat are watching the new Dexter? Like, how many people are watching the new Dexter? I am. Angela and I make it a Sunday morning every day because she'll make breakfast, and then we'll watch the new episode of Dexter. It's actually really good.
Bro, it is beyond good. Can I just jump in real quick here? Because I've been on top of this since it came out. I went into the first episode not knowing what was going on because they were bringing his sister back.
Yeah, because Deb's back.
And so I was like, what the fuck? Why is Deb here? Like, what are we doing? And so, like, you get into it, and then you get into it, and then it takes a fucking left turn. You're like, there's no way. And then, like, it just gets so intense in, like, the second episode. Yeah, it's good so far. They could fuck this up on the second half. But
what I thought was brilliant, is its
opinion. I didn't like the first Dexter.
What's brilliant about this is that, and I love what Jennifer Carpenter has done with Deb, with the character of Deb, because she's slightly different. That's because it's not Deb, it's Dexter's version of Deb.
Right.
That's how Deborah is in his mind.
It's a new dark passenger. It's
right.
Just,
She's taking the place of his dark passenger because she, of the situation there. But I love where it's going. But anyway,
what the fuck does it have to do with this?
The reason I bring this up is because at the end of the last episode, there was a very interesting song playing. The name of the song was Ketamine, and the name of the band was Princess Goes to the Butterfly Museum. Okay?
Featuring.
And I was like, this is interesting. This is an interesting sounding song. So I look him up. What the fuck? It's Michael C. Hall's band, him and two other guys that they started in 2020. It's brand new. They are currently, right now as we speak, on tour in the UK.
Yeah.
Okay? And Ketamine is the one that played in the credits of this episode. But that is not the style. The style of this band is very much the David Bowie 80s psychedelic stuff. It's so wild, and you wouldn't expect it because Michael C. Hall can sing. He actually can, and I was impressed. I was like, "What the fuck?" My mind is blown. I showed it to Angela, the one where they're in like the psychedelic moving room, and there's a disembodied, Michael C. Hall like yelling at the other two guys and shit, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I wanted you guys to look at this, to look into it, and I wanted your opinion because it's amazing.
That's one word for it.
I like it. I actually kind of dig it.
It's Michael C. Hall at his best, I think.
Yeah, it's really good. It's nice to see a different side of him because he was a Dexter for 8 years.
Yeah,
and then he's played a couple of small indie roles, but every time you see him, he's kind of pigeonholed as Dexter. This was great. Unlike Patrick Stewart, who was Picard for so long, but he can slip into any role. You'd be like, okay, I don't see Picard anymore. I see the role he's doing. Picard is amazing.
I don't know. It's tough for me to get past. There are certain characters that, even though that Patrick Stewart he's a phenomenal actor. It wasn't until he was in X-Men that I was able to get past him being Captain Picard. But then it was immediately replaced by him being Charles Xavier.
Oh, that's true. Right. Well, it was Conspiracy Theory that broke that for me.
Well, see, I saw him in Conspiracy Theory. I'm thinking, man, it's still too much Picard, even though he's just an evil Picard. This is what would happen to Picard if you embrace the Borg.
This is not Picard, it's Locutus.
Right.
So I really dug this. I like seeing this side of Michael C. Hall. It's not even the anti-Dexter. It's just seeing his artistic side in this way. It's kind of like seeing I've had the very few occasions of going to the theater, the like legit theater, and seeing a screen actor that I'm very familiar with on stage.
Right.
It's always very wild because you have an anticipation, but that's the difference between theater and stage. Well, this is essentially, band. And I will say this. There are a lot of people who are big fans of Jared Leto out there. They're big fans of 30 Seconds from Mars. 30 Seconds from Mars.
Okay, Jared Leto.
30 feet from Pluto or something.
And then there's Jared Leto, the actor. And I'm more of a fan of him as an actor. He fucking kills it in the new Gucci movie.
It's terrible.
So he kills it in that. But I've never really been a fan of 30 Seconds to Mars.
Because they suck too.
So, but this one, I like this band. I like what he's doing. It's new. It's what they want to do. It's their creative kind of. I think this is a result of the pandemic. That they were looking for a creative outlet. Right. They were looking for a creative outlet, and this is the way you do it. So there you go.
I don't know.
But anyway,
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. So anyway, if you haven't had an opportunity, definitely go out there, check out, if at least to see something really interesting. Go out and go on YouTube and pull up the videos for Princess Goes to the Butterfly Museum, because you'll either love it or you won't love it, but definitely like it. And I definitely want to give a huge shout out to Digital Darkness, who is in the house. That is our man, Alien X, who is behind that, Alien X Gaming, who is running the new Digital Darkness for us. And new episodes that I believe are on Sundays. new live streams. He will be live streaming horror games. The link for that is in the description of this episode. So definitely check that bad boy out because it is he does a phenomenal work over there. All right. I think that is enough about that. Well, I'm actually.
And that's all I have to say.
And that's all I have to say about that.
So, JL, you know
Yes.
what? We're on a horror podcast here, so let's talk about some horror movies.
Yes, that is
That
is the job that we do.
See, this night started off weird because the movies that we're gonna do make no sense either. So
they kind of make sense. Just wait till next week. Just wait till next week. All right, so yes, let's dive into it. So, first horror movie that we're going to be talking about today, and this film, and I love Christmas horror movies. Released December 12th, 2017, and we're going to talk about Once Upon a Time at Christmas. So, Once Upon a Time at Christmas, directed by Paul Tanter and written by Christopher Jolly and Simon Phillips, starring, as soon as I fix this, because I fucked it up, because unfortunately, this doesn't have a list like normal. We have to do it differently. Oh, man, I screwed it up.
Starring two people who are trying to be people they're not.
acting out a story that didn't happen.
Acting out a story that didn't happen.
God damn it.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, my bad. So, starring Simon Phillips, Sayla DeGode, Yana Gold, Paul Thomas Arnold, Justin Gordon, and Jennifer Baker. So this story follows, if those who have not seen it, this one follows a small town where all of a sudden a Mr. and Mrs. Claus descend upon the town days before, in the days leading up to Christmas, and go on a mass murder spree where they are slaughtering people in increasingly large numbers, leading up to some sort of horrible, event on Christmas Eve. And while everybody chases their tails trying to figure out what the hell is going on, it is a crazy. It's a pretty wild little film. It's super violent, lots of crazy deaths. The strip club death is pretty interesting. But obviously, leading up to the big
elephant in the room.
The elephant in the room?
Yes.
How'd you fit an elephant in your room?
Very carefully. A lot of lube. This was obviously supposed to be the Joker and Harley Quinn. It is so painfully obvious as to what they were going for.
She was very Harley Quinn. She was. I agree with that. I wouldn't agree with him as the Joker.
Well, no, maybe not. But that's what they were going for. I fucking hate Harley Quinn. I think she is the most useless character in all of DC. Probably all of comics. She is terrible. She's such a stupid character. So watching the film, if I did, we'd be demonetized forever.
We're not even monetized.
I can't stand that character. I think it's everything about the character is so stupid.
So you really hated Sayla in this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I'm watching thinking, oh, for fuck's sake.
It's not even Harley Quinn. It's like a fucking Diet Coke Harley Quinn.
Yes, it's not even a Diet Coke. It's like a Diet Dr. Thunder.
Mountain Mist.
Horrible.
It's great value, Harley Quinn. It's a shit you pick up at Walmart when that's the only thing that's open.
It's the stuff you find in the garbage can behind Aldi.
Exactly. It's the stuff it still costs $0.25 at the vending machine. They're like, no, we'll pay you to take it. Please, just take it.
Listen, Johnny, I would have to agree a lot with you on that. Simon Phillips does kind of redeem a lot of this movie, but it's pretty terrible. Go ahead. Did you give the synopsis yet?
I did. So okay. So yes, I can agree. I definitely see that her performance was very much Sayla's performance was very much Harley Quinn. I don't think Simon would really pull off he may have been going for Joker, but he didn't pull it off. But I will say what he did deliver was great. I actually found her kind of annoying just in that role. I think she was obnoxious. I thought he was amazing. I thought he was good. So I was but that was the weird thing about this, that this film, despite it being a slasher film and having an interesting plot, no less.
The story, it was interesting the way.
Especially gets to the twist towards the end, right?
But here's a problem, even with the story. The only people who didn't figure this movie out were the dumbass cops in it.
Right. And everyone was on it except for the police, except for like, and the FBI was there. When the FBI gets used for cannon fodder, that's pretty much it.
Right. Yeah.
And the smartest cop is the drunk chief. It's like
Usually.
the chief. It's like the chief of police with an alcohol problem.
Right.
Generally, haven't you seen Super Troopers? This is pretty much the same.
Well, yeah. So it seems like they took all the trending things of the past, 10 years. This came out in what? What did this came out?
2017.
2017.
Yeah.
So it's like they went and said, "Hey, look, that Hopper guy from Stranger Things is pretty popular. So let's make her. There's our police chief.
Right.
People like the Joker and Harley Quinn. So there's our bad guys, and then we'll just put in some stupid, kids to be the fodder." Done.
Can I be Eugene this week though? The fucking sound quality on this was awful.
Yeah,
a lot of the shots were fucking the sound quality.
Yeah.
It got so loud at some points. It was like, what the fuck? And then like the screams and like where it's supposed to be ramping up, it gets quiet. I noticed that throughout the whole movie. But also like the acting in this was fucking terrible from everybody.
I don't know. No. Okay,
people getting killed.
Yes.
Are you kidding me? They were like smiling when they got killed and shit.
Okay, Zayla, yes. But the chick who played the daughter, and that was
she blinks when she's supposed to be dead on the floor. Like
she
blinks.
was terrible. I mean, there was some bad.
Is this the one that got shot in the throat that smiled?
No, that was the other one. Yeah, they're like smirk as they're getting.
But then again, the writing wasn't on. Dude, you don't watch a movie for the writing. But then when the writing is bad and the writing was
story.
bad,
I mean, it was a good story.
But that's what's weird is the story was actually decent because the whole thing said that for those who have, I mean, I don't think I'm giving too much away, but for those, I mean, this is just your typical brutal slasher that's more about the kills. But the story is interesting in that it's about a dude who was a who was a war vet who did multiple tours, came home, had PTSD. He kind of derailed, as unfortunately our veterans often do. Wife ends up leaving him. He has a breakdown, winds up in the psych ward, and then has like a complete mental collapse.
Funny that he happens to meet Harley Quinn. I mean,
and then then
Harley Quinn in the fucking mental hospital, much like the Joker met the Harley Quinn.
And then the place burns down. They find his teeth. They assume he's dead. And then he comes back, just before Christmas with, the crazy lady in tow as his Mrs. Claus, and then proceeds to, rip his way through the town.
It's so
to
senseless.
the theme of the 12 Days of Christmas.
Yeah,
but that's the thing too. They fucked that up. The 12 Days of Christmas isn't like the days leading up to Christmas, and that is a common misconception. It's supposed to be from the 25th to January 5th. That's just like.
Have a good one, Ivy Gentry. So, but yeah, that was it. I mean, there were some difficult things about it, but I thought the plot was interesting because then it turns around, and I kind of saw it coming. As like the girl who's the prime deal, she's his daughter, and he's coming back for his family, and then I thought it was a decent setup because what starts off as what looks like a mass murder is actually a plot to basically throw everything into absolute chaos so that he can get in there and get his family back, or at least kill his family if they don't accept him in that respect, or make his daughter like him, to get like a new addition to his family or whatever. But I liked how they played it. What I didn't really dig was, and I'm starting to, as I get older, I'm starting to less and less to like the trope of PTSD as a horror trope.
Well, when it's used in this manner, right? If it's used
right,
like if it's done right and well, there are some that you can do it. Like what's his name in? I forgot the name of the film where it's the baby baster.
Don't Breathe.
Don't Breathe. Yeah, like that. Right. That's used well. They did that well, right? But it's not like the kind of is the main theme of, or the main driving force behind the bad guy. But it's not something silly like, oh hey, now we're crazy people that are dressing up like fucking Santa Claus, decapitating people to the theme of 12 Days of Christmas.
Right.
You know what I mean? This just seems like it was an easy thing to do, like an easy way to write in some backstory for a character, right? You just say, oh, PTSD, character developed. Like, no, come on, we need more than just combat veteran suffering from PTSD.
Here's the problem with that. Here's the problem with that trope. And JL, I agree with you a lot because a lot of the times they use it as just, it's like, oh, here's a quick backstory. And they don't portray PTSD as it is in the real world. I've experienced this firsthand. I've had friends come back from overseas, completely different. Like, you know, there are things, the behaviors and stuff. It does not get portrayed well, especially in this movie. You're talking about Don't Breathe. If you're going to be, you know, PTSD is like a psychological horror, and using that as the story and actually touching on it how it should be touched on, you know, with compassion and actual like understanding and research, that's fine. But then you use it in something like this where it's not a great movie. The story is pretty good, but the acting is shitty. You got people that don't understand it clearly, and then they use it as like, oh, this person is snapped because of it, and he's going to murder everybody. He's a bad guy because he has PTSD.
Right.
It's a negative connotation on something that a lot of people just don't understand.
Right. Well, they take the most sensational parts of PTSD and use that as the, you know, the overall, like, this is what PTSD is, the mental snaps and whatnot. No, definitely not. There are a lot of people that, you know, the reason why it was people, they call this, say that some of these people suffer in silence.
Right.
It's sometimes you just don't know that's what's going on because you know, it gets misdiagnosed as whatever, you know, or people don't think about it. Well, because he's not doing this snapping at people thing, or, you know, he's not suffering from PTSD. Like, no, there's so many different, you know, levels and facets of PTSD that, again, like you said, don't get properly represented.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that's what I got. I think in this particular one, maybe just because it may have been the cheapness of the film, or it just may have been it was just easy to do it that way. That just kind of was like, you could have done something a little bit better here.
You could have just gone the whole way and said, "Hey, he's a gangster who got beat up by his former mob boss." And went
yeah, I mean, you could have just taken the entire story. And,
I mean, the whole thing.
So yeah, and Aaron Reese was saying, and Aaron Reese is saying here, PTSD has been used as a trope since before they even invented the term. Back when it was shell shock. And he also said, Aaron Reese says PTSD should be used to humanize, not horrify, if anything. Exactly. Because because it is a big topic. I mean, but as far as like age goes, this is a recent thing that people are really beginning to kind of understand, to really, they're like, this is a thing that soldiers deal with. And it is becoming a part of the norm, which is tragic in and of itself. But I don't like the idea. It just didn't sit well with me in this particular film, using this as a trope for this particular thing. I understand it when used in dramas, like in the movie Brothers, you know, Jake Gyllenhaal and Tobey Maguire. I understand it in that respect, and the damage it does to the individual and the damage it can do to the home. And that's in that dramatic setting.
Right.
Okay, because that reflects reality. But in this particular instance, it's just getting old to me. And I was like, it kind of pulled me away from it a bit, but at least Phillips was a decent bad guy. I like Simon Phillips. I've watched him play bad guys. He usually is heavies. He's an Irish actor, and typically, you know, this is what he does. I did find it interesting that, you know, they did the whole thing. He had to bust out his teeth in order to fake his death, and then he had to replace his grill with all silver teeth. What's funny, and it should be you'll see that he's like he's all silver teeth and everything. Simon actually had to ADR all of his lines in this.
Really?
So every line he did, because the grill gave him a lisp.
Yeah.
And so he was trying to say his lines like this and it. And so he had to go back. Do what?
Sound like Mike Tyson.
Yes. So they had to go back and ADR all of stuff. But I will say this.
So bad.
They nailed the technical of that, but couldn't nail the technical anywhere else, because you can screw up ADR really bad.
Yeah, the beauty part about ADR, if you get a good enough actor and if you do ADR quickly enough, right, where they're still in the mindset and they have, so ADR, there are two ways to capture it successfully, where it's going to look like it's not, and then something else comes out of his mouth. You know what I mean? Right. Like my demonstration there. But the idea is, if you have the scenes that are shot, and the best one is you get the performance for the actor to watch while they are reciting, going back to their lines, so they can see the expressions they made, put themselves back into that mindset when they were playing the character, to get it as close as humanly possible without being the original line.
Right.
Or you get them really, really quickly in the moment.
Right.
Which that can be problematic for many reasons.
So Little Wolf brings up, like the bad guy in Bushwhacked. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just one thing about it. So, but one thing I do want to ask the audience, I will ask the live chat. So we were talking about Christmas slashers, and I want to know, just of all of the Christmas slashers out there, what's y'all's favorite Christmas slasher? I know it's going to be Garbage Day. That's just one of my. It's just one of my favorites. Just like Garbage Day. But yeah, there are a lot of Christmas slashers out there. If it's any particular one, Silent Night, Deadly Night, Once Upon a Time at Christmas, and there's another Silent Night that came out. But or even what actually I'd say probably my second favorite is Larry Drake from the episode of Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah,
which was the evil Santa in that. So, but let us definitely know what your favorite Christmas slasher is in the live chat here or down in the comments below, or hit us up at weekinhorror@gmail.com.
Robert Caslow, the answer to your question is automated dialogue replacement.
Mm-hmm.
What ADR stands for.
And it's essentially when if we're recording. Yeah, if we're recording here, like for example, on one of my latest videos, I messed up the script. I actually read the script wrong. And I recorded that. The take was great, but I screwed up the line. So then I had to go back and record my audio and do the script correctly, and then basically cut out the bad audio and drop the new take in. And so what I was doing was ADRing myself into the video.
So fancy.
It's fancy. It's good times when we do that.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, so Johnny, you got this next one. And
I do, man. And look, people, if you've seen this next movie, you'll understand why I say that like I do. So we've got the 2019 film After She Wakes, which directed by David Clark, directed and written by David Clark, starring Stella Carlish, Conrad Good, and Nicola Lambo. I really wanted to like this movie, but basically this is like the IMDb thing. Is after a horrific tragedy, an isolated mother and daughter dealing with grief develop terrifying sleep disruptions that manifest into a sinister reality. Or does it?
Right.
Johnny, what the fuck happened?
I wanted to like this movie. I really
literally what the hell actually happened?
No, but seriously, okay, see, I love these kinds of movies. I love movies that you get into and you start guessing stuff and you immediately realize that everything you're gonna guess is gonna be wrong. So you start thinking about like, okay, what's the other option? This one goes so fucking far into that, it's like the fucking Cube. And so every time you get through another door, you're like, what in the fuck? But seriously, at the end of this, what actually happened? Because I mean, we can't even spoil it, given half the movie away, because it makes no sense in the
I
third
can
act
give
anyway.
you a shot-by-shot explanation, and you still, I wouldn't be spoiling shit.
Yeah, well, okay, so given this, given the nature of this, like we can't decide what exactly the hell happened in this movie. Given how it was shot, and Johnny was mentioning it, like it was shot in non-linear fashion.
Yeah,
it kind of bounces around in between the past and the present, and all the different things that are going on. I will give it up for this. That lead actress, Stella Carlish.
Carlish, yeah.
Okay, she ran the gamut because she hit every up, down, around. This thing must have been an emotional wreck for her. I'll give her that.
Yeah,
but
she again, great performance. That's what I'm saying. There's so much to like about this movie that you want to like this movie. I wanted to like this movie because I love slow burn horror films that are more psychological than anything. I love the juxtaposition of the idyllic family life versus this other thing versus this other thing versus this other thing, and then the nonlinear storyline. That everything about this movie, that's right up my alley. And I'm watching this thinking, please, I want to like this. Can you make some fucking sense?
So, of the possible conclusions, what do y'all think actually occurred? Like, what do you do? Because there is no the ambiguity, unlike Christopher Nolan, like Christopher Nolan's Inception. There at least is some hints as to what the right ending is. There's a little bit,
right?
Namely, it's because Michael Caine is in the scene. If Michael Caine's in the scene, we know it's not a dream. But so there's that. But I'm sitting there wondering, there wasn't anything that led to anyone. So it's either none of it happened, it was a dream,
right?
Or she's in hell.
Okay.
Or the husband's still fucking with her.
It's three.
or she's so unreliable as a narrator, we don't know what part we're at in the story.
Well, so that's, I mean, that right there, regardless of which one of, and that fits in with every one of them. She is like the unreliable narrator
from hell,
personified. Like everything you would ever think about an unreliable narrator, she has all those tropes, right? So she's dealing with grief, she's dealing with mental anguish, she's dealing with not knowing what reality is, not being able to distinguish between dream world and real world. She's dealing with, hallucinations, everything that would make this narrator unreliable. The fact that she could be trying to hide something, the fact that, you know what I mean? Like she would have ulterior motives to lie to you about recounting the story. Like I said, there's so much to like about this.
So since we're diving deep, let's dive into this a little bit. Okay, so she could have just woken up, it was a dream, but it was such a weird dream, kind of pointing towards some sort of mental illness coming towards, in her future. Also, another thing that you could look at, the time loop hell thing, I guess that was kind of like a way out there deal. But what you're looking at here is there's sleep Let me ask you this. If the scene with her ex-husband, the whole sequence towards the end, in the bedroom when she's in the sleep paralysis stage, if that hadn't have happened, would that change your thought of the outcome of the movie? Because it wasn't necessary. It wasn't revealed himself. Yeah, the whole sequence in the third act, like when she's in sleep paralysis and he's there, and then the whole thing with I'm trying not to give anything away, but the whole thing with the choking, and if that whole sequence wasn't part of it, it could have been a totally different movie. And I feel like that whole thing that was unnecessary. There's already so much going on, and they were pointing towards stuff like sleep paralysis, which is something that's totally scary. If anybody's ever dealt with it, I've dealt with it my whole life. You can go through these loops while you're in sleep paralysis where you wake up, but you're not actually awake, and you wake up and you're not actually awake, and it keeps going until all of a sudden there's an object there that you can grab onto, that you realize for me, what I do is I look for an object that I know doesn't exist in my life, because that's how I know that I'm in sleep paralysis, and then you grab onto something in real life. Like, okay, you're back and everything's there. And it's a terrifying cycle. They could have played more into that and less into that sequence with her ex-husband. I think they could have had a more clear understanding of what they were trying to portray.
I don't think
that makes sense. Sorry, that's my take.
They wanted it clear. I think they wanted it overly.
But they could have cleared it up at that point. It had.
I don't think they wanted to though.
Well, that was the issue. I mean, if the husband hadn't shown up at the end, I myself would have concluded that she was in hell, and that she was punishing herself over and over and over again for falling asleep behind the wheel and resulting in the deaths of her family, and that this was it, and then the guilt being reflected back at her husband, the failure of that relationship, the issues with her daughter, and so on and so forth. But then again, because we never saw the daughter at the beginning at the car wreck,
right?
I was beginning to think about 3/4 way through the movie that the daughter was a personification of her guilt. That essentially she was projecting her failure as a mother,
right? Being
reflected back at her by this daughter that she created.
And then you look at the interactions that the daughter that she creates has, like in the beginning of the movie, what kind of, I guess within the first act, when they're sitting down eating breakfast together, and then she gets a call from the Sarah. She gets a call from Sarah asking what's going on. These pictures that you posted and videos that you posted on social media, and all of a sudden she looks at these videos and pictures, and then she's pissed off at the daughter. And they fight, and they're like, "This, I hate you." And just like 10 seconds ago, they were having this, this really comfortable.
They're having a moment.
Yeah, they were exactly. And then this thing happens, and just like that, it's changed. Like this little girl went and filmed her mother having these episodes and posted them online. But yeah, it's just weird. That is what I'm with you on that. That's what makes me think that that yes, this is a personification of her guilt. Like this little girl is there because there's no other mention of them having any other kids. Like where the fuck did this little girl come from?
Right. And when he's chastising her, you took my son away from me.
Right.
Well, no. Well, I mean, but then because she asks about the daughter, and he says she's fine.
I know. That's what fucks it all up.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
But is she even having that conversation in real life?
And that's the thing with her being an unreliable narrator, is anything that comes from her perspective, is that true? Can we believe that?
Ultimately, I mean, I got after the end of it, I had to sit there and think about it for a second. I was kind of like, I wasn't expecting what I got, and the way it ended, I was kind of like, wait, what?
Right.
And then I had to go back, and I was like, I don't mind ambiguity. I like endings that kind of like, I like the end ? I kind of dig that.
Yes, that's good. It works.
But I got the very distinct impression that this writer, that the writer of this, was being deliberately confusing. Like,
he's trolling us.
I've got this idea, but it needs to be like chaotic. And in order to make it interesting, it's got to be all over the place.
Yeah, this is Man on the Moon. Andy Kaufman. That's
right.
What this is right here.
And so, I agree with Johnny in that, and I think Alex might as well. That I really, really wanted to dig this movie. I wanted to like it, and it was angling in a way where it went. Luckily, I don't hate it like I hate Ninth Gate, which let me down in the last 5 minutes. But because that just pissed me off. This one, I honestly think that the director was trying deliberately to be confusing, just for the sake of being confusing. Look at this wild wackiness,
right?
There's been a couple of movies in my life that have ended, and I felt the same way as I did with it. It's only a handful where it's like, well, fuck. Like, I guess there could be multiple different, but I really would have liked closure, and you don't get that. And but that's like you said, that's probably what they were going for. And you know what? I think it worked. I enjoyed this movie. I took it for what I could see it being when I first started it. So I right off the bat, it was like, okay, it's going to be like this. It's going to be crazy. Mm-hmm. I don't have any expectations for this. And I think that helped because it wasn't bad. The story was good. The writing was good. What the fuck is really going on is there. But if you don't like that kind of shit, you're not going to like this at all because it goes all the way the fuck to the outer skirts of this trope for sure.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's everything about this movie I want to like, but I just didn't because I don't know. Maybe I need to watch it again a couple of times just to kind of try and wrap my head around it a little better. But
and to pick up and see if there's any little nuance.
Oh, I'm sure you will not pick up everything on the first watch. It will not happen.
You gotta be in the mindset. Okay, this is the ending. She's in hell, and then watch it like that, and then go back and be like, okay, this is the ending.
Yeah, right.
She's just going crazy.
Right. You will miss if you don't sit down and pay attention while watching this film. This is not something you can watch while doing the dishes.
No,
you got to give this your attention. If not, you're going to miss so much and be extremely confused and probably hate the movie because you're so confused.
I have no doubt that there's aspect. So Little Wolf says so. It's a mind fuck of a movie. A little bit. It's a little bit of a mind fuck. Because you're trying. Yeah. Essentially, you're trying to follow her story. It's the mother's story, and it's how she's relaying information to the viewer. But because of the non-linear nature of it, because things seem to jump around a lot, because her emotions are so erratic, and she responds to things like she responds to things like she's mentally unstable. Yes. Like at the party, when they're at the party, and then she flips out at her husband, and then all of a sudden calms back down and is profusely apologizing, and then freaks out at the guests. She's constantly projecting at people and then realizing she screwed up and then retracting and then projecting again. Right. She's in this like attack defense mode going on. And so we realize how much of what this woman is saying can we trust?
Right.
How much of it is just her interpretation? Was the husband actually there? Or was this a projection of what she was going through at night? And that's what made it difficult. And I would get it if there was like if there was some legitimate closure, but I think there's good ambiguity and there's bad ambiguity. And I think in this particular one, they just did it deliberately. It's like just to make you go, huh? At the end, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And again, it's not necessarily bad. You have to watch it. You really do. If you got to watch it. If you don't watch it.
It worked though, because you just told an audience that they have to watch it. So now people
exactly. We are their marketing team.
This is
they don't have to spend a dime.
This is not paid advertisement. If you want to, If you want to know why we're so sounding like idiots when we're talking about this movie, you have to watch it. That's all I can say.
I will say this for definitely a lower budget film.
Sure,
it was. I thought it was decently shot. The cinematography was fantastic. I liked the performances. I thought they were good. It's just, and even and the writing, definitely an uptick from Once Upon a Time at Christmas. But it does require multiple. And no, Ronan Ellis' name says, but is the twist M. Night bad? No, it is not. It is not M. Night bad. In fact,
Lady in the Water bad.
You're going to have to decide what the twist is.
Yep.
Is the whole point. Is like, there is a twist, but what is that twist? And I think if multiple people could view this one time, we could all come away with something different. Because my first inclination was that, at the very end was that she was in hell. But then there were things that jumped up and I was like, oh, wait a minute. No, she couldn't be because of this. Well, that's weird. So I got to go back and I am going to have to go back and watch it again to see if I can come to some sort of conclusion on this. See if the director left any breadcrumbs throughout the movie. But I don't think he did. If
he did, they're so well hidden that they never have breadcrumbs. Hmm? He let the breadcrumbs out, but the ducks followed behind him.
The ducks got him.
Yeah, this is so, like I said, check it out if you like this type of film. If not, if you don't like being confused or not knowing exactly what's going on, if you're an overthinker like me and this is going to keep you up for weeks on end, then don't watch this movie because...
Oh, Surf is in the house. Good to see you, Surf. Another one of our amazing patrons.
So
thanks for being here.
Speaking of confusing, and this is a very confusing film, I want to ask the live chat and the audience listening, what's the most confusing film you've ever seen? Let us know. weekinhorror@gmail.com or side chat or in the comments down below.
The most confusing film I've ever seen.
Confusing film.
Of all films? Which one?
After She Wakes.
Actually, you know what? Tenet.
Really?
And not a horror film, because you can say the most confusing horror film I've ever seen. There's a couple, but I mean, the most confusing film I've ever seen was Tenet. That was delivered. That was just what? Reverse time? No. Yeah, I think Christopher Nolan has literally become the Ouroboros, and he is eating his own tail at this point. When you go from like Memento to Inception to Interstellar to Tenet, now Tenet's just, the snake is just raw.
Yep. I mean, when you really, it's gonna be kind of tough to follow Interstellar.
Sir Little Wolf says us. Sarcasm says us. Okay, us was pretty on point until you start thinking about it after the credits. Then you realize that whole movie just falls apart and doesn't hold water.
Yeah.
So us. Sarcasm says Memento. Memento was a little confusing just because of the non-linear storytelling. It was. Charlie Welch, Shutter Island.
That one was. I had to watch it twice to realize that it wasn't that it was confusing. It just wasn't great.
Yeah, Mother started out that way until I realized what was going on.
The symbology there.
The symbology.
What's the symbology there? Yeah, it was about halfway through it. I was like, Javier Bardem's God.
Yeah,
they represented humanity, and she's Mother Earth. Okay, now I get it.
Yeah, I picked that up.
I never got that until you mentioned it on the podcast. I was like,
for anybody who doesn't know, that was a great moment in Week in Horror history. Was that movie had just come out, and Alex had watched it, was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Okay, well, the interesting thing about it is it's the allegory. Javier Bardem is God, and Ed Harris and Michelle Pfeiffer they represent humanity, like mankind, and then she's Mother Earth." And it's the ravaging of Mother Earth, and then God repeats the cycle over and over and over again. That's the house rebuilding. And
the house is the earth and how we're tearing it down.
Yes, and Alex was like, "What?"
Hey, Elizabeth, good to see you.
Good to see you, Elizabeth S26. Fantastic. Oh, Ronan Ellis says hands down Forbidden Zone, 1980.
Okay.
You know what another kind of confusing one was? THX, 1138, the one with Robert Duvall.
Oh man,
he's the bald guy. Bald guy living underground.
Yeah, forever since I've seen that.
That was kind of an oddball one as well.
You know what one always got me from when I was younger, and it was probably, I don't know, 17 or something, whatever. The Fountain. It was one that I never understood. I had a friend that would watch it all the time, roommate that would watch it all the time, and I like sat down and tried to watch it.
Darren
like 6 different
Aronofsky,
times.
Hugh Jackman, Rachel Weisz.
No fucking idea. I still have no idea what that was about.
He played Hugh Jackman. Okay, so Hugh Jackman. What? Hugh what?
I may just say Hugh Jackman.
Huge Jackman.
There you go.
So, but yeah, Hugh plays the character across multiple times. He plays the conquistador. He plays the modern guy trying to, cure his wife's disease, and he plays. It's a really interesting. Darren Aronofsky is a very good director. I love his work. I love Pi and I love Requiem. Even though Requiem just like it's so fucking depressing. But I also love The Wrestler. The Wrestler was phenomenal. So
I didn't like Requiem for a Dream.
I can imagine. Well, that's the one where you're kind of like, oh, this is the sad ending. These guys got everybody.
Yeah, everybody's clean. Oh, he's missing his arm.
Oh,
so
he's not.
Oh,
so you're telling me drugs are bad?
Drugs are bad. Okay.
Okay.
I want to go do heroin after watching this movie.
No, I don't.
No, I don't. Ever.
Get the fuck away from me.
Keith David in that movie too.
Everyone.
How did we go so fucking left?
Then it happens, Well, we're talking about like mind fuck shit.
I guess.
All right, but you've got the next
heroin
one.
is pretty
Hey, check it out. You
fuck.
get to see Jennifer Connelly. She's naked in this movie. Don't. Just don't. Alex.
You've got the next one, dude. Take us into the next one.
Just don't.
Yeah.
Alex. Anyways, let's go something I guess a little bit lighter. Fuck. Let's talk about
if anything, because it's black and white.
I guess, anyways, Frankenstein's Daughter came out December 15th, 1958. This movie was directed by Richard Cunha, starring John Ashley, Sandra Knight, Donald Murphy, Sally Todd, Harold Lloyd Jr., Felix Locker, and essentially Dr. Frankenstein's insane grandson is trying to recreate the perfect being, except he's using a woman in a very misogynistic way. And that's all you need to know.
That's all I have to say.
That's all that happens in the whole
That's pretty much it. Yeah, I mean, I get 1958, and I get at this time the teenage craze was kind of taking over, putting teens into horror films. The same idea as thing with the Blob. I get that, and you look at my, I was a teenage werewolf,
teenager in the Blob.
Well, I was a teenage werewolf. I was a teenage Frankenstein. I get this trope like this, and hey, NA, one of our amazing patrons, I see you in there in the chat. Thank you so much for coming in. I think he's been in there, but I just caught him. So, god damn, this was a clunky, fucked up mess. I'm just gonna say that. What?
Okay, that's
what I mean, but even 58, man. What the
was
fuck
pretty
were
terrible
they trying?
For 58.
I mean, this one was just aggravating. I don't often get annoyed at movies, and like to this degree. This thing was so fucking bad, and I love Roger Corman shit. I like John Waters shit, and this movie was just why it wasn't even done to amortize the cost of another movie.
Yeah, that's it. Time out. Hide Abigail Chandler, please. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know why they made the movie either. I think that this was one of those, let's do it because we can.
Like trying to capitalize on the franchise?
Maybe.
Then, okay, to clarify in this, and I want to say, I see Tony Regimes. Oh, yeah, I see UKPI has joined. Thank you so much. Good to see you, UKPI. Thank you for joining us. And I thought I saw somebody new. Tony Regime. Yeah, Tony Regime. 2 million.
Tony Regime finally managed to sign in.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Fantastic. So, yeah, the point, okay, when trying to look at this thing, what I was anticipating was kind of like another entry into the classic Universal monsters, throw in. nothing was good about this. The makeup was absolutely terrible. The cinematography was terrible. The acting was awful. The writing wasn't even mediocre in this respect. Everything was delivered terribly. Nothing like it was almost like watching a JM Truth movie. There was no fucking planning done whatsoever on this one. It was the worst universe. I guess entry into a Universal monster franchise. How did anyone sign off on this piece of shit?
Seriously,
Alex, are you familiar with the JM Truth?
There was a movie that I watched on the YouTube from the JM Truth, and it was
the Superman one.
Yes, it was the most wild shit I've ever seen.
It's so bad.
It was terrible.
This is pretty much there. That's the bar. That's the bar they had to clear in 1958, and they did not clear it. And I will say this is, and I found this out after the fact. I watched this thing. It was like, what the fuck am I watching? I don't usually dog on movies like this. This thing was fucking atrocious. This is what happens. I found this out after the fact. When you shoot a movie in 6 fucking days.
I'm sorry. That's just not a good enough excuse anymore. You look at
not even a week.
Not anymore, Johnny. Not anymore. Yes, in the 58, yeah, but
you couldn't even put 7 days of work into this.
No, that's
the 7th day he rested in jail.
Yeah, 7th day rest in jail. It was Sunday, okay.
It worked out just as well.
Yeah.
Fuck.
What I'm saying, no, if you think about it, that whole it was only done in 6 days, or that doesn't hold water, okay? Because Saw was done in 18 days. The whole fucking movie was 18 days.
But that was so much farther in the future.
No, I understand, but that just goes to show that if you have good planning,
true,
you can make a.
You get into this movie. You get into the, what was it called? The DeGeneral plot line with the, okay, we're spiking the punch thing, and then you get into the whole like, okay, we're building the perfect female, and then they're like, we got to use a female brain because we found out that they're compliant, and I was like, really? Like, that's not what the movement was supposed to be heading.
They use that same fucking trope in Species.
Yeah.
We decided to make it female because to make it more docile and compliant. It's like like Michael Madsen's reaction is, you don't get out much, do you?
It's terrible.
That was back when Michael Madsen actually gave a shit.
Right. Like I'm
this
guessing
is
you guys
a movie
don't get
that
out
you
very
watch while doing the dishes, Johnny.
Yeah, this is one. Yeah, you could listen to this one. I love my Universal monsters. Okay, I love them. I grew up with them. Classic shit.
Yep.
This is, I mean, what it pains me to say, the shit that we see today, that I hear people bitch and moan all day long about, is rebootitis, sequelitis, remake-itis, whatever-itis, is that nobody's got any original fucking ideas. Except for a few, except for like a small handful, you know. And this is, I mean, it was kind of disheartening to think there was a golden time in Hollywood when this wasn't the case, when people were brimming with ideas. They were like that. Nope, it was not the way.
Well, see, but the problem is, even at that, here's a problem that Hollywood had. They were still 400 years too late when it came to storytelling.
True.
You know, there's no such thing as an original story anymore. There's 7 stories. That's it. When you break I'm serious. When you break everything down, there are 7 stories.
And I mean, and just the blatant capitalization.
6 degrees of separation.
That's what I got out of this. This was just we've got access to the IP, we got access to the license. Let's just make a fucking movie. This is Fox making Fantastic Four just so they can hold on to the goddamn rights. That's all that was. There was no soul in this. There was no joy in this. No one wanted to be there. The makeup was the makeup in Evil Dead was better than this, and they were working with $10,000.
And it was in black and white.
You at least could have pulled something off with that one. Nope.
I mean,
The whole Frankenstein attacking somebody in a bikini too was kind of like.
This is the thing. It's like, okay, and so like, John Ashley just made a number of films for AIP, which is American International Pictures. He later recalled AIP was low budget, $100,000 a movie, but at least they shot on sound stages and the size of the crew was bigger. Frankenstein's daughter was really rock bottom, but the people were very nice, especially Duck Kuna, the director. But it was quick, a little more down and dirty than AIP. That's nice. That is someone playing politics right there.
Yep. I have to review this movie.
Exactly. And then Ashley later said he remembered two things about the film. The monster, which was a man, because the makeup artist didn't know it was supposed to be a woman. And that we shot the ending in Harold Lloyd's estate because Harold Lloyd Jr. played a teenager in it. So that was pretty much it. But yeah, that was another thing. That this is what happens when you make a movie and you don't plan. When you basically say, we've got the IP for something, we've got the license, let's just fucking run with it and capitalize on it and just churn one more out.
It'd be like if I ran up to jail and say, hey, jail, you got your camera? Yep.
Let's
go. What are we shooting?
Y'all want to shoot?
Y'all want to shoot?
We're going to shoot. Y'all too?
Let's go. We're going down the hill, going to shoot ourselves a movie, put it on the television. I like that.
They're going to let us use the name Frankenstein, put it right on it. Is it going to be Frankenstein? No Frankenstein in it.
No Frankenstein in
what
it, buddy. But we're going to call it Frankenstein. No, how about we call it Daughter of Frankenstein? Hey, that's an idea. That way
that's too many words. There's too many words to say. Frankenstein daughter.
Bubba, look, means we don't actually have to have Frankenstein in it. There's your pitch session.
That's exactly how it went. There's no way that's not exactly how it went down. That was perfect. That was entertainment right there, guys.
Someone
in here said that they prefer Frankenhooker. Frankenhooker was better than this movie.
Frankenhooker had a better storyline than this movie did.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so fucked. So what do we just end this?
Yeah.
It's hard to segue away from that.
Shoot this in the friggin'.
But given the announcement, this is why I wrote down to ask the audience. Given the recent announcement, and I know some people out there may not know this, but there's a new Dark Universe, like Universal Monsters Dark Universe movie coming out called Renfield, which is focusing on Renfield, the guy who was the servant of Dracula, and Nicolas Cage has been cast to play Dracula.
Look.
Wait, no. Just give it a couple seconds for that to sink into the live chat.
Not the garlic. Not the garlic. Oh, the garlic. My eyes. Not the garlic.
You're a vampire. You don't say. So I'm just saying there is a new one coming up called Renfield. Sarcasm. No. Stellarium has it right. Why? Why would you do this?
I don't have a problem with the Renfield per se, right? I don't have a problem with the movie. Up until you said Nicolas Cage is playing
Cage Rage Dracula. I'm gonna be a vampire. So nonetheless, with that coming up, with that announcement there, that Universal is still trying to make this dark universe happen because everything's got to be a fucking verse now. They're still trying to make it happen. What about Frankenstein?
What about Frankenstein? How do you even do Frankenstein in a new dark universe? There's so much lore behind it. Who do you bring in? Are you doing Dr. Victor Frankenstein and his monster and that's it? Or are we going the whole fucking... It's insane. Could they even do... Shelley route. I mean... Okay, you have to.
Does this story only work in Victorian times? Is that the problem?
Maybe.
I think so. Because if you look at, you could probably modernize it and get away with it.
You could modernize the fuck out of it. Now that I think about it, they just had those robots
and whatnot. Yeah. Oh yeah. Or the
they just
AI.
Have those robot AIs that are they've got reproducing AI now.
But doesn't that just turn into a sci-fi film about a robot becoming conscious about an AI?
Yeah,
isn't Frankenstein just Victorian sci-fi?
Well, no, but Frankenstein is an amalgamation of human beings all sewn together and then regenerate. And then it comes to and then I have an abnormal brain. Sorry, that was a good Frankenstein. But yeah, the modern Prometheus. Okay, so the movie with Radcliffe, with Harry Potter and Professor X and young Professor X.
Radcliffe, don't call him Potter. Come on.
With Harry Potter and Charles Xavier, or I'm sorry, James McAvoy and Daniel Radcliffe. So but the movie with them was okay. I thought it was a little slow and a little boring until it got to the Prometheus, when the Prometheus gets awakened.
But that's the thing. If you read Frankenstein, the novel, it's a boring book. It really is
slow and boring.
It's a book. It's a book about this monster that walks the countryside, reminiscing or contemplating life. It's like he's having this fucking Walt Whitman moment, talking, songs of my life, and just it's not. People think Frankenstein's a monster movie. No, the original, like the source material, is not. Yeah, he's the monster of Frankenstein. Yes, but he reading the novel, he gains the ability to speak, and he goes and lives out in like this cottage in the middle of a valley in the countryside and whatnot, and he just sits there and contemplates his life and why he is what he is, and it's
well, okay, so
there's nothing remotely frightening about the overall novel.
Right. So Charlie Welch brings up Dean Koontz's Frankenstein was an awesome way to do it. He just lives all the way to present day. There was a movie version, or not a version of that, but it was a movie called I, Frankenstein, starring Aaron Eckhart, Yvonne Strahovski. Absolutely fucking terrible movie. Dumb as shit. Don't fucking watch it. It was Frankenstein versus gargoyles is pretty much all it was. And it was just junk. The script was god-awful. And then Wrote It No Last Name brings up the organ transplant route. And you might have an interesting story, but they already did that with Jeff Fahey in Body Parts.
Okay,
that was fantastic. That was great.
All right, so here's my pitch. All right, I'm taking everything that the live chat said. Organ transplant, great idea. Nicolas Cage has to be in every single fucking Dark Universe remake in some fashion or another.
The Cageverse.
The Cageverse. So here's what we're going to do. So we're going to have, let's say, the world's first brain transplant, modern day, and it's Nicolas Cage on the operating table, and they're going to hook up the new brain, and it could go one of two ways. They either have to like hook up the new brain first before removing the old brain, and they don't actually get the old brain out, and something goes wrong, and they got to shock him, and he has to live with two brains somehow. Or
is that the man with the screaming brain?
Or they do the brain transplant, and then there's something weird with his body, like he's like a murderer. So the guy that dies that they're putting the brain into is like a murderer, and so he starts taking over qualities of that murderer. I know the trope's been done before, but you could do it modern day and make it Frankenstein-y. That's my pitch, guys.
Or how about this? You just don't do it.
There was a recent one. I think it was called, what the hell was it? Okay, it was about this Frankenstein-like doctor who was killing girls and then putting them together and basically dismembering them, using their pieces to make the perfect woman. And I think it was called Pieces, if I remember correctly. But it was done very interestingly because he used 3 girls to make one. But when they come to, when they revive and they come to, all 3 personalities are still in there.
Could you imagine it will cut Frankenstein, 2 different people in the same body?
It will. So in the movie, it cuts from the stitched up girl, the one who's all the pieces, the Frankenstein-like girl, interacting with somebody else, and then it goes back to them, and then all 3 girls are standing there because it's the internal monologue, it's them all talking to each other. So it was using those kind of fun camera tricks to say it's still 3 people. It's just they're acting as one body, which is really weird. But I mean,
Centipede.
Yeah, so it was kind of interesting. But
sorry,
I will say I don't know, but I was curious if could this thing be done? Are you think they're going to try? I think that they will.
Well, they've greenlit. The film is greenlit. They're making it.
What do y'all think? What do y'all think, live chat? Should this be a thing that happens? Should they do? I mean, they're going after. They try to do the Mummy. They try to do. I don't even know if Dracula Untold was a part of it, but I guess they're not doing that. I'm not sure. It's such a fucking mess. I have no idea what they're doing. And then, of course, the Invisible Man one was Blumhouse and not Universal.
So the Invisible Man is going to be Universal's Spider-Man.
What?
So the Marvel, the MCU, right?
Right.
You've got
Thank you.
Spider-Man. Okay.
Oh, to go from Blumhouse over to Universal.
Fox,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I see. All right. Well, let us know in the chat and what you think.
Sure,
Should it be
Kevin.
I have
Again.
I have no idea.
No.
Again. No. Oh, Rodent Ellis name's right. Cage and Mandy. Mic drop. Absolutely. And if anybody hasn't seen it yet, it's not a horror film, but check out the movie Pig. He was really good in that. No cage rage, no flipping out, no wild eyes, no German expressionism, none of that. He just Nicolas Cage delivering an amazing performance.
And if you want all of that,
look,
check out History of Swear Words on Netflix.
All right, so we got one more, and I'm going to jump into this bad boy because I'm looking forward to talking about this one because I loved revisiting, and I will say this. So released December 18th, 1981, we have the movie Ghost Story.
Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore.
No, 81.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so 1981, directed by legendary director John Irvin, and screenplay by Lawrence D. Cohen, based on Peter Straub's book Ghost Story, and starring Fred Astaire, Melvin Douglas, Douglas Fairbanks Jr., John Houseman, Craig Wasson, Patricia Neal, and Alice Krieger. So I really, really like this movie. This is a classic horror story, just a classic ghost story. Yeah. Really good stuff with legendary. It's that kind of. It's almost Victorian in its telling, but only because of the affluence of its primary characters. Their affluence kind of gives it that air of aristocratic appeal, which I dug, which is a hallmark of those old Victorian, almost Shelley-esque, ghost stories.
Well, this happens in New England, which is
exactly
to be generally considered the most Victorian spot in all of America.
For sure.
And I dug it with you got performances by Alice Krieger was amazing in this. I thought it was fantastic for I think her second movie. I
can't believe she's old enough to be in this movie. She's 67 years old.
Now? Oh, yeah.
Now, not then, obviously.
Yeah. Wait a second.
She's 200 years old today.
She's a lizard piece.
She really is the Borg queen.
And she's still rocking it. So but that's the thing about her. I didn't, realizing going back to it, her voice hasn't changed.
Not one bit.
And that's what's wild is because you see her physically and you're like, wow, really young. But then you hear that voice. She's had that unique South African accent, that husky South African voice.
Very sultry.
Since the very beginning. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was fantastic. But I loved the performance. Fred Astaire was great in this. And so was and fucking John Houseman. I don't know if anybody remembers John Houseman. Did a lot of TV stuff, but predominantly he was the evil Dr. Franklin on for the Bionic Woman series.
Right.
The $6 Million Man.
Yeah.
So people might remember him from that, but in that he was clean shaven. In this one, he actually had facial hair. So it was kind of but he has that distinctive kind of like delivery. And then of course Melvin Douglas and Douglas Fairbanks Jr. Everybody was fantastic. All of the performances across. I love the atmosphere. The production value was amazing. I thought this was a great story and an excellent, even in 1981, I like this adaptation of the book. I thought the book was actually worse. I thought the adaptation was better because the performances elevated it. And I love that in the early 80s that the story came along that really was exposing the kind of aristocratic hypocrisy or the hypocrisy of aristocratic men and their inherent fear of women for some reason, because these played major tropes in what happened between the four friends and the girl back like 50 years ago.
It's so much. I'm just playing off of what you said. The book it doesn't do it justice because this was written to be like, it's a personification of a ghost story. It's like it takes the perfect structure of the way a ghost story should be told and, portrays that in the movie. It's hard to explain because it's so well done, like you said. And at the end of it, it's like, you're like, that was a good story. unlike the fucking first movie that we watched.
But
But no, you're right. You're absolutely right. The production value, they all brought it. You could feel that everybody was like really into their roles in this.
It was
And
palpable.
Alice did great, and the whole like going, from the 50 years before to the next, it was like, oh, that's a cool twist. It's a, it was good. It was a good watch. It was fun. It was definitely something that I was not expecting, considering the first couple that we had to watch this week, dude. Thanks.
I like it because we talk about so many slasher films. We talk about so many, I guess, lackluster horror films. We talk about some good ones. We talk about a lot of bad ones. It was nice to get back to this, but these kinds don't come. This kind doesn't come around very often. This nice classic ghost story that had really decent effects. I love the everything about it was fantastic. Number one, I totally forgot, or I put it out of my brain. Just that whole scene when he sees her in the bed and she scares him because her face is all rotten off, and he goes out the window buck ass naked. Ah! He's just like, ah. So, everything, the setup was great. The stuff at the bridge was fantastic. I loved the setup. Good classic practical effects. Nothing animated. Nothing, nothing like nothing rotoscoped in.
No Harryhausen.
Yeah, just no stop motion. Just good classic effects, good classic ghost effects. And I love that climax when Fred Astaire is there and they're trying to pull pull the car out of the lake where where her body was, and then she's closing in on Dan. She's closing in on him, and and then all of a sudden she goes. It's like her hands are normal, and they're reaching towards the frame, and then they come out of the frame, and they're like all fucking rotted and shit. I love what they did in this.
Yeah, it was good.
It's fun. It's creepy. It's got a couple of. It doesn't rely on jump scares. This was good, and I love the story.
Jump scares were really a thing,
right?
You had jump scares back in the 80s, back in the 70s, even back in the 50s, but they weren't called jump scares and they weren't relied on to scare people.
They would be a part of the climax mostly, and then the end of it. And
I like how it depicted that mentality, the failure of that mentality in between men and women. You could almost say this was some would say this was a feminist film or a feminist story, at least. In that the actions of the men lead and create the scenario in which this vengeful spirit has come back because of their actions. And I feel like it was weird, and that she was kind of playing off of it, but she didn't deserve what happened to her, especially because they threw her in the car alive. So I like that idea, and I'm considering 1981 probably wasn't a subject a lot of people wanted to broach.
Right. Well, yeah, because there was the whole like, oh, you're making fun of me, you've embarrassed me, and then I'm going to punish you for it, because I'm bigger than you. I guess, yeah, if you're looking at it like that, it could be looked at as like, they thought I was weak, but I came back and showed them that I wasn't type revenge in a feminist way. You're right. In the 80s, they probably shied away from this shit a little bit.
Right. I like how it hit on that. I was like, it was refreshing. Sir Little Wolf, I would say yes, it is as good as The Entity, although a different energy of a film. Absolutely. This one is very much the Shelley-esque, the slow burn into the climax, into the big reveal as to what happened between these friends and the vengeful ghost coming back for them. Whereas in The Entity, that was driven really by the performance of Barbara Hershey. Barbara Hershey was magnificent in that film. Maintaining her power level, maintaining her strength, her resolve in the face of this thing that's attacking her. Whereas in this one, this was about the reflections on one's past regrets as the world around you changes. You have 4 old men who are haunted by their actions, and the world has passed them by. Their mentalities are long gone, and now they are forced to deal with this because this thing has come to deal with them and their children. This vengeful ghost that is punishing not only them, or punishing them by punishing their next generation. And they have to come to terms with this one. And I really dug this. I just enjoyed it. It didn't really perform critically, and I don't know why, but I think that is a failure of the source material. People didn't, the book was kind of meh. And so people didn't expect the movie to be much better, but I thought this was a phenomenal retelling.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that it's like a reverse House on Haunted Hill. type situation where the book, the source material in the movie or the show in this case, but even the movie kind of got in its own way. But yeah, no, I think like you said, the film definitely did the story justice, and it kind of, I think, portrayed it better than they did, or they did what they were trying to do in the book.
And Alice Krieger.
I know, yeah, no, she did great. She did great on all levels.
She was fantastic, and I enjoyed it. And there were uplifting moments. This wasn't a dour story all throughout. When they're retelling, which is retelling the story of their courtship, things begin to go kind of sideways, and then retelling the story of what occurred and how the four friends. You imagine, because this was 81, so 50 years ago, this would be the early 1930s. Right. So you think about the mentalities then, the mentalities now. I loved it. I really, really enjoyed this. I recommend anybody go and see it, just because John Irvin's a legendary director. I think Hamburger Hill, and there was another one that I know. And Dogs of War and Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. So John Irvin's a legendary director. So under his careful guide, it all came out fantastic. God, I love the production value of this. The houses that they went to. He shot New England beautifully in the winter and in the spring. So,
John Irvin's, he does have one kind of like claim to shame.
What's that?
That his Robin Hood was beat out by Kevin Costner's Robin Hood.
This is true. And unlike some Robin Hoods, I can do an English accent.
Yep.
It
was bad when Kevin Costner tried to use that English accent.
Yeah, not great.
So
but,
bad.
Well, at least he had Morgan Freeman across from him. At least that was that was good.
Yeah.
So, but Johnny, your takeaway on this, because I know you like slow burn, I know you like classic horror, and just a good classic ghost story.
Yes, I do like a great slow burn. Psychological horror is my jam. This one, it works. I like it. I want to watch it again, because this is the one film that I kind of like briefly looked at, because I'd seen it many times before, but I briefly looked at it, and I remember that Krieger was great. That her performance was spectacular. Yes, sarcasm. The best Robin Hood was Men in Tights.
No, this is a wild pig. That is a wild boar.
We're men in tights. Mel Brooks. I watched whatchamacallit, Spaceballs last night. Oh, so good. No, but absolutely love this fucking movie. You got to watch if you're into psychological horror film, or if you get to slow burns. This is a great example of an older slow burn that takes you down a journey. Great performances all over.
I'd say a really good departure from what we're used to today. Like, if you wanted to get away from what we have, obviously, because nowadays you've got everything high gloss, everything, like color saturated, the fast pace or quick cuts or anything of that age. The filmmaking of today, like what this is, does not reflect the filmmaking of today. If you want to break away from that, kind of go back to kind of like what legendary directors and filmmakers did, like this kind of mentality. This one is a good one to go back to.
1980, like the end of the 70s and beginning of the 80s was a really interesting time for filmmaking, because you had a lot of people that were trying to break away from the things of the 30s, 40s, and 50s. They were trying to break away from that stuff. The 70s, with 70s and horror and slasher and whatnot, but then you had other people that, it wasn't until the end of the 70s when more of the mainstream filmmakers were starting to do. It's like the beginning of the modern era of filmmaking, and you can see that this movie specifically, it's definitely one of those, you can see that this is like the child of modern filmmaking, where they're getting away from like the the cinematography is changing, the storytelling is changing, everything, the direction, the way the characters are developed, everything is starting to change a little bit in filmmaking and storytelling. And this is a good example of kind of bridging that gap between what worked in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and then what continues to work to this day.
Yeah. I like this, what Aaron Reese was saying. Yeah, Aaron Reese says the cinematography of horror movies was at its peak in the late 70s, early 80s. After that, it just went downhill. And I think that coincides with the use of computers.
I think so too, which is why I like the low budget, slow burn horror films.
Yeah.
Because they're, again, I just like psychological horror. I thought that was the best part about Saw, was that it was really a psychological horror film. Even though people think, because of all the sequels, they think that it's this huge, grotesque, gruesome film. The first one wasn't.
No, first one wasn't super extreme.
Right. The first one was very much psychological horror.
Skitch Crasher, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And UKPI says, I blame Hitchcock for all the crap camera angles.
He did experiment a little bit with cameras.
He did. I mean, Dutch angles are fun. Because I like how Dutch angle. This was an interesting thing, and one thing I thought was well picked up on if you imagine this, in Once Upon a Time at Christmas. In Once Upon a Time at Christmas, they use that same effect, moving in between characters, and it's a classic comic book effect, is what it is. When you frame the hero, you always frame it in a symmetric. You frame it parallel to the horizon, to the ground.
Right.
The hero has a level look at the world and a realistic look at the world. Whereas the villain always gets framed skew. Like the villain is always like this.
Yeah.
Aha! And that this is how he views the world.
Yeah.
I am chaos.
Exactly.
His visualization
right.
of what they want you to feel, what a filmmaker wants you to feel. They want you to be in that headspace of the character, and that's the best way to do it, is to do that jarring thing. That's the reason why Resident Evil video game works so well, because it was such a departure. Yeah, it was such a departure from your normal, third-person camera angles. Like you'd walk into a room and the camera was up in the corner, way the fuck away from you, and the controls are kind of. That's what made it work so well, is because it utilized these types of things.
Aaron Reese says, I think the conversion from film to video at home also had an effect. I would agree.
Sure.
And Charlie Wells says, Dutch angle sounds like a sex move.
JL, you want to do the Dutch angle? I'll hold the camera. You grab my arm and move it around.
That's the Dutch rudder.
Oh, yeah.
And then see, I use your arm, and then you grab mine. And then we're doing it again. It's a double Dutch rudder, right? And we're doing it, but we're not. Well, let me ask the audience real quick. For this particular one, I absolutely loved Alice Krige in this. And Alice Krige has had a legendary career. She is still going strong. She's played in a number of amazing roles. I particularly love her in Silent Hill. But she's done a number of amazing performances. I want to know, what is your favorite Alice Krige role? So let us know in the live chat or down in the comments below, or of course at weekinhorror@gmail.com. But definitely, what is your favorite Alice Krige character or role that she's played? And I have a feeling we're going to get a bunch of Borg Queens.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. Most people didn't know who Alice Krige was until that movie came out.
I'm telling you, I also love her in Sleepwalkers. So, because I thought she's just it was like, wow.
So bad. She's mommy doing her son.
But she was. Oh man,
it's not good.
But I will say this: she like that. Okay, for everybody out there, imagining the Borg Queen's voice. She sounds just like that in Ghost Story.
Yeah,
like her voice has not changed one bit.
No. Aaron Reese says Sleepwalkers because fuck you.
Fuck you because fuck you.
I need my glasses.
Sleepwalkers because fuck you. All right. So yeah, definitely let us know. weekinhorror@gmail.com. Johnny.
Yeah.
What do you say? Is it trivia time?
No, I think they haven't earned it.
They haven't earned it.
They haven't earned it. They haven't earned trivia time.
There's no way for them to earn it. We're not monetized yet.
That's not what I meant, JL.
And that will bring another episode of Week in Horror too.
Thank you, Alex. All right, fine. We haven't had the 15 answers before. You know what I mean? You know what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for everybody to have the. I didn't see Chris Durham with his excellent, perfect guess.
The guesses, the trivia guesses.
That's what I'm saying. They haven't earned it. That's what I mean.
That's okay, Elizabeth S3e12. She says, I'm not sure who that is. But definitely, Alice Kriege, and her last name is Krige. You can definitely look her up. She's had a long legendary career. Still going strong. She was also the mom in Reign of Fire, the Christian Bale, Matthew McConaughey dragon movies.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris Durham Music Channel says, trivia question answer, Madeleine Albright in Silent Movie.
One of these days, he's gonna nail it.
One of these days.
Just because.
Absolutely. Sarcasm has given us a super chat. It's the best super chat we can take. The only super chat we can take.
That's not what I meant. I was looking for all the guesses. I missed it.
Aaron Reese said Ron Jeremy in One-Eyed Monster.
Ron Jeremy in prison. What?
Again?
Charlie Welch. I fucking love Reign of Fire too. That is a guilty pleasure. I love Matthew McConaughey playing a barbarian hunting dragons. Fucking A, I'll take that any day of the week.
That was such a weird departure from his like romantic comedy role.
I know, right?
That was right. That was that was after A Time to Kill, but before all that like lovey-dovey shit that he did.
You go from all right to when he jumps off the shit with the battle axe. And I'm like, what
gonna
the
be
fuck?
dragon food.
He just straight jumped into his mouth.
Yeah,
I think that was Matthew McConaughey has an arc, and at this point, he's completed his arc. We don't know what to do with him, so just throw him into the dragon.
Just let him clean it up.
Aaron Reese is right. Wait, there are people that don't like killing dragons with a tank? I know, right?
How else do you kill dragons?
America. Wait, that wasn't.
All right, it is trivia time. Let's give these amazing people who have hung out with us all this time their shot at something. Oh, and the trivia prize today is your choice of item from the store. You choose.
That would be the Weekend Horror Store, not like the Walmart.
Well, I'm going to take a new set of speakers. Thank you very much. Actually, from the corner store, you get a Monster Energy drink. No, from the Weekend Horror Store, it's your choice. Now, remember, this entire month, everything in the Weekend Horror Store is, and the link is in the description. Everything is is dropped as low as it can go and 15% off the entire month of December. So if there's something you want to pick up for Christmas, this is the opportunity to do it, because I've got them as low as it could possibly go with and then the 15% on top of that. So check those out. But tonight, the trivia winner gets their choice of something from the store: hoodie, maybe, pint glass, any of that. So whoever wins this, just let me know what you want, and you will get it from the. And remember, all the limited edition shirts are up as well.
Yep.
Everything is available for this month. All 4 limited edition shirts, the limited edition mug, the new drinkware, the metal tumbler, the pint glass, the new black mug, the hoodie. Everything is up. So, Johnny,
this month the JL is Santa Claus.
This month JL is broke.
Shit. All right. The film After She Wakes was conceived by director Dave Clark after a terrifying experience of what? That's such a clunky way to ask that question.
It is a little clunky, but I couldn't think of another way to do it without giving it away.
Right. The film After She Wakes was conceived by director Dave Clark after a terrifying experience of what? What was the inspiration behind the film After She Wakes?
Oh, Sir Little Wolf got it.
God, Sir Little Wolf, are you okay?
Although
Parali.
It's almost there. I almost thought that's it. I was like parody. I was like parody. I thought it was
parody.
So yes, wow, that was fast. I didn't expect that. Damn.
Damn.
The auto spell, said Sir Little Wolf.
The auto spell. And I see a number of other individuals. So, yes, congratulations to Sir Little Wolf. You nailed it. That's it. Yes, the answer is sleep paralysis. After a terrifying experience, sleep paralysis, Dave Clark conceived of the movie After She Wakes. So, congratulations. Other answers were Skit Crasher said, after a terrifying experience of seeing my mom. Tony Regime said, terrifying experience of surgery. Wrote a no last name, also got sleep paralysis. So close. Chris Durham said his Dave Clark 5 had a hit single.
Aaron Reese said he experienced actual paralysis halfway through the
That's Sir Little Wolf just going method with it. So congratulations. Congratulations, Sir Little Wolf. You have won your choice of item from the store, from the Weekend Horror store. So check out the link is below.
From the Weekend Horror store.
Shut the, I'm having a stroke. So from the Weekend Horror store, from the Weekend Horror store, you've got your choice of items. So check out the Sarcasm Says Hospital Wi-Fi sucks. I'm so sorry, dude. That sucks. So definitely you go to the link, choose your item, message us directly. Let us know what you want, what size you want, if it's an item you can wear, and where we're going to be sending it. So congratulations to Sir Little Wolf. Let me write that down, and it's going to be like Sir Little Wolf, whatever.
Wow. That's rude. So rude, JL.
He said whatever.
Whatever.
God.
Whatever.
As he writes it down. WHAT ever.
What is it? It's whatever. Oh, it's whatever major loser or something like that.
Wow.
I totally fucked up because my screen is reversed. I'm looking at the screen and it's got it backwards.
I just got out of the pool.
Somebody cut that out. Okay, that's gonna be
fucking. What is it? Wedding singer. There were cones. You hit 2 cones. This could have been guests at her wedding. There were cones.
Oh, jeez.
All right, guys. That brings another episode.
This is what happens when Eugene is not around.
Weekend Horror to a close. And then shit never got real.
Never got real.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. We had a great time. We hope you did too. Join us next week when special effects artist Jim O'Halla joins us as we look back at the oft-maligned Dracula 2000, the brutal murder set pieces, the seriously questionable An American Werewolf in Paris, and the cult alien classic The Faculty. We'd like to send a special shout out to all of our amazing patrons who continue to help us make Weekend Horror an incredible success and the success that it has become. Thank you guys so much. Seriously, we would not be here without you guys. We can do this every week. We can shoot the shit in the chat because of you guys. So thank you so much. And you know the cool artwork we have for our limited edition t-shirts and those super cool mugs and hoodies we now have. Go pick up a hoodie. They're pretty freaking sweet. Well, Weekend Horror artist Joshua Olsen has opened up a store with all of his amazing designs. Check out www.badsamurai.store to see all the latest amazing additions to his shop. Visit us at weekinhorror.net, where you can find links to all of our episodes, our bios, our merch store at Teespring, and, of course, enter your email for a permanent entry to win a mystery horror shirt every single month, courtesy of $6shirts.com. For more horror entertainment, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and even Instagram. Yes, Jo has succumbed and opened up an Instagram account for us.
I had to.
Where he posts all sorts of risque shit. This month he's doing a photo Santa shoot for his new calendar.
It's a 12-month spread.
It's a spread.
It's spread for 12. Spread for 12 months.
I just wanted to put it in the universe. Now it has to materialize. There you can get our daily splatter, a bit of horror movie info every day, right to your feed. Please like, subscribe, and smash that bell like someone's head caught in a jigsaw trap for all the latest updates from the show, and to be sure to leave us a comment. All those interactions really help us with the algorithm here on YouTube. It is terrible. Every time you push a button or you put something in the chat, it really helps out. And lastly, if you truly love what we are doing here and you would like and are able to support our production, you can through our Patreon. We'll have tiers as low as $1, That's cheaper than Friday the 13th throwaway victim. Higher tiers get early and special access bonus content, monthly horror movies, and can even join us as special judges on our bloodbath debates. You guys, it would be really cool to have like a group of, I don't know, anywhere between 6 and 12 of you guys come on and help us judge. The bigger the panel, the better the discussion. It would be
be amazing.
Only
And we
even
do
after so.
And we do after darks occasionally where we bring our patrons on to see if they can beat us in the movie game.
In the movie game, yeah, we do all sorts of cool stuff. Like, so if you guys want to hop on here, we'd love to have you on. Check out those tiers in the Patreon. But if Patreon is not your preferred cup of blood, you can always support our show through our PayPal as well. Links to everything, including our Discord community, where you can find film recommendations, trailers, trivia games, horror watch parties, and even interact with us directly, are in the descriptions. As always, sharing the show with your friends in your local horror community is the absolute best way to help this community grow. Thank you all for being the greatest audience a podcast could have. Seriously, you guys are great. This is so much fun every week. Thank you guys so much. And as always, stay scared. Just kidding. I'm Alex.
I'm JL.
Holy shit. Can we stop the show already?
Just fucking say goodbye, you douchebag.
Your mom goes to college.
And with that, we'll see you next week. And as always, stay scared.
See ya.
Bye, guys.
Fucking asshole.